Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. All it takes for any cryptocurrency to have long-term viability is to just solve one real problem at scale. That's it. One cryptocurrency solving a real problem at scale, and humans don't just throw that away because that represents value. Set aside price. Price is different than value. Price, when you say price, you're just talking about the open market price of a particular crypto asset. When we talk about value, it's like, what problem are you actually solving? So all it takes is one actual solution, something, a cryptocurrency or an associated blockchain becoming the standard for a particular problem, a solution to that problem rather, and you're good. That's it. And it's amazing to me that, and I've been saying this a fair bit lately, admittedly, but that's because there's been so much adoption of XRP and the XRP ledger, despite price action. But what you see in the real world is that almost no cryptocurrency actually solves a problem for anything or anyone. And there's about 20,000 different cryptocurrencies being tracked on CoinMarketCap today. And then you have the XRP ledger with multiple use cases. In fact, and I mentioned this story a few weeks ago, it just went live. And so I got to give you an update, and I'm going to show you real activity. The first real transaction is utilizing the XRP ledger and XRP specifically. I'm going to be clear on this. It's not just that the XRP ledger is being used because you can tokenize stuff on it, which certainly a piece of it. It requires the usage of XRP. And what is happening here? A country has adopted the XRP ledger. Yes, indeed, the Colombian government is utilizing the open source decentralized XRP ledger to tokenize land effectively. It's a national land registry. It is live. That's astonishing. This is a government of a country doing this. And you know what's kind of neat about it? They don't need the permission of Ripple. It's open source. They can just do it. And they are. And there are reasons that they're utilizing this. And it's also worth mentioning that initially when this project started a few years back, their platform of choice was Ethereum. Now, I haven't seen anything lately about them attempting to continue to use Ethereum. Maybe they just don't want to bash the project, but it's live on the XRP ledger. So I'm assuming, that, to the best of my knowledge anyway, that Ethereum is not getting used for this. Now, of course, Ethereum, much slower, much more costly for transactions. But with XRP, you get finality in terms of settlement in real time. It's practically free. You know, it just works. It just works. And you can't say that about most blockchains. Most blockchains have to worry about constantly upgrading just to be able to do basic things like payments and settlement. It's astonishing here. So I'm going to share with you the specifics, but I do want to be clear at the outset. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. So I want to be clear, too, before getting into the specifics of this story. Like, there are going to be a lot of things tried with the XRP ledger. Not everything's going to work. You know, but again, we just need one. We just need one. Now, the good news is at this point, we see a lot of different use cases, like I said. But just understand, like, despite what's happening in terms of XRP price action, it's been down lately. It's down over 75% compared to April of last year. But that's just XRP moving with broader crypto markets. So if you happen to share my investment thesis, which is simply that utility matters and will win the day, then all the stuff in the short term, all the messiness in terms of price action has nothing to do with real world value. It has to do with humans just speculating. And I say speculators are actually an important part of the environment, whether you're talking about the stock market, even during the dot-com boom and bust, which admittedly was very irrational and messy and all that. Well, same here, but even though it is still true, most activity on blockchains, it's speculative activity. That's important so that we can figure out which ideas deserve to be adopted and on which platforms. So the fact that that's messy and that the overwhelming amount of transactions are speculative, well, so what? I encourage that. Let people bounce around off each other. A lot of them are emotional, but there will be a certain percentage of them, like me, for example, who's just going to stand for it. I'm like, well, no, the fundamentals matter to me. There's a reason I'm holding XRP and I have since November 2017. It's the freaking fundamentals. That's the reason it's my largest position, because I think even if markets tank because of the speculative nature of crypto, I still think even if you have a cleansing of the entire asset class, XRP bounces back ultimately because of stuff like this. This is amazing. So here's the headline from the Crypto Basic. The first version of Colombia's national land registry deployed on Ripple XRPL. Now, They shouldn't have Ripple in the title. I'll give them boo points for that, but XRPL, yes. Persist Technology, a Ripple partner, has announced that it has published the first version of Colombia's National Land Registry. Now, the document can be found on Colombia's National Land Agency website. People interested in viewing the document can do so by searching its file number 11774 on the National Land Agency website. And by the way, we're going to do that in just a second because it's just neat to look at. I'm going to show you the actual transactions. I'm going to show you XRP actually being used by the Colombian government. XRP, again, is not an optional piece of this. It is a required piece of this. Anyway, piece continues. According to Persist, the document was produced in collaboration with Colombia's National Land Agency and Ripple. And here's a quote from Persist Technologies. Here, I guess I can just pull up the actual thing. I got it here on Twitter. From Persist. Excited to share that we just put into production the first version of the National Land Registry together with, it's at Agencia Tierras, and I speak only English and gibberish. Those are my only two languages, so I'm sure I butchered the enunciation there, but it's just the Colombian government's National Land Registry. Anyway, and then they wrote, and the support of Ripple, to register the first adjudication resolution in Colombia on the XRP ledger. Now, it's going to be clear, so happy to talk about the partnerships and the nature of that. But again, what I said earlier a few minutes ago is true. This goes forward with or without Ripple. Ripple cannot control this, period. The XRP ledger is open source and decentralized. And you can see they shared this actual screen grab, and they shared a link and said, you can go ahead and do this yourself. So I did it. And when you click on the link that they share, it brings you to this website. So then you just type it in, and I already did it, so I just got the web open. It takes you to this page right here. And you can see that this actually occurred on July 26th. So we found out, after that, of course. This is news, brand new as of yesterday? I think it was. I wish the damn tweet. Literally yesterday in the afternoon. So it technically happened a few days prior to that. It hadn't been announced, and so we didn't know that. But if you click on this, you can see right here, since it started with R, automatically, it looks pretty much like it's probably XRP ledger related. And sure enough, if you click on that, it will take you directly to XRP scan website, this is a separate website. It has nothing to do with the Colombian government. It's just a website that pulls data from the XRP ledger. It's programmed. But it's a separate entity. But you can see this. You can see. You can check your own account on this even. So anyway, this is the actual page that pulls up here, and so you can see that, and this is the first transaction that they've done with this system that they've now implemented. And here you can see just the account activation. They put down 11 XRP. So think about this. Like, you cannot have the utility that they desire from this without setting up the account, which requires XRP. To use the XRP ledger, that is required. So you might say, okay, well, how many accounts though? I mean, somewhere in the article, I think it said something like 100, in the immediate term, 100,000. Yeah, I'll get to it. I'm going to go back to the article in just a second. But maybe say it is, and I'll double check as we go through this video here, but say it's 100,000. Okay, well, it's not a crazy amount of XRP when you're talking about a max supply of 100 billion. But I don't know exactly to what degree it's going to scale beyond that. Will other countries copy this? And even so, you need to understand how ultimately rational people speculate. So there's irrational speculators that'll just copy what everybody else is doing in the market, and that's how you get this wild volatility. But there are also speculators that are a bit more rational. I consider myself among them, if I may say, and I may because it's my channel, damn it, and I do what I want. But I'm looking for actual utility, and there are a smaller percentage of humans out there that care about that, but they're the ones that win, and they're more stubborn and more logical in the general sense, I think it's fair to say. And so what are we looking for? What are we rational people looking for? Well, I'm looking for utility, and I see it right here. And so the more utility I see, it's not about how much XRP would need to be used for this particular use case. It's that I know that the XRP is needed for this, and as a result, I don't think it goes to zero. So then people like me that recognize the actual utility, what do we do? How do we behave? Well, if we want to diversify and get into the crypto asset class, we'd probably buy a bunch of XRP and hold. And it's fine. So for me, it is speculative, but it's not speculative for everyone. And there's a place for speculators. We're useful here too. And we're risking something. We're placing our bet and saying, hey, we have the confidence for so-and-so, whatever it is that we're betting on show. Like that's, and it's not literally betting. It's not like this is actually gambling. It is investing. But, and I will take anyone to task that disagrees with that. Because there's real utility and real problems being solved here. So this is just one freaking thing. So this is separate from whether, and maybe Coil works out with their new form of web monetization because you can settle the XRP with that. Honestly, I haven't seen updates from them forever. I wish them the best. I'm still a subscriber. I'm not even, like, I don't see it getting adopted. I hope it gets adopted. But that's why I keep saying, nothing against them. I really do hope they find success, and I think it's a great idea. But you're going to have a lot of ideas utilizing XRP, and I don't think all of them are going to pan out. But this one seems like I'm pretty optimistic about it. I certainly hope that this continues to pan out. It's pretty straightforward, and the technology obviously works. And they didn't do this on a whim. They've been working on this for years, mind you. So there's that, but Coil's still out there. You can still settle the XRP. You've got, obviously, the whole NFT game, and we've got the XLS 20 amendment, which may pass. You've got XRP as a bridge currency, XRP being utilized in gaming, not to a major degree at this point, but there's still opportunity there. You've got XRP, which can be used in place of fiat currency. To what degree that's adopted in the future, unknown. But there's some things here that are rock solid, and you just see adoption continually increase. And so that's why I keep saying, like, if you were a person like me, you should be looking at this and be like, holy hell. Because what happens in a mature market, even if it takes years, like XRP is so underpriced because, again, almost no cryptocurrencies freaking do anything. And here you have this. So this was the account activation. It's on your screen right here, July 21st, 11 XRP down. Now, transactions are almost free, so that's pretty cool. But anytime you want to tokenize a new thing, any new plot of land, you're going to be plopping down that reserve amount. And so here's an individual transaction also. This is the one that they cited. This is July 26th. Look at the fee, 0.000015 XRP, practically free. So that's astonishing. All of this, and you've taken out the middlemen, you've taken out the undoubtedly costly administrative aspects of tracking this, and it's on an immutable blockchain, so you know that it's true, you know that it's real. You've taken away all of that, and it just works. It could not be more obvious that this is truly useful. So that doesn't mean for sure that something doesn't come and knock it out. And I don't pretend to know everything about this, but the Colombian government says it's awesome, and they're doing it right now. They just implemented this, so let's see, and we'll see if it gets long-term traction. There's no way to know that, but damn, the more stuff I see getting adopted, the more encouraged I am. This is why I'm a super long-term guy, and yes, I am hoping that even without there being a sufficient amount of maturation in the asset class, I am ultimately, and I've said this before too, like I'm hoping that we just have another irrational spike in XRP price, which I think is more probable before true maturation of the asset class takes hold. So I prefer that. And then if XRP just goes up and it's not as much based on utility of the platform, but more that crypto markets just get hot, I'm happy with that. And I still think that's more likely in the short term anyway. And fine, then I'll sell most or all of my XRP. And then maybe it tanks again. Then maybe I buy a bunch back. We'll see. That's open, and I want to see how adoption continues. That's why I'm tracking this so much. And almost nobody knows this. So almost nobody, way less than 1% of humans have ever held XRP at any moment in time. And out of those, what percentage of humans are even aware of this to this degree? Like if you're listening to this, you're part of a small group of humans that know anything about what's actually going on a regular basis with the adoption of XRP and the XRP ledger. And you may know, as I've been reporting recently, I've mentioned it just at least casually. I went in depth of it, and then I also mentioned casually in a few videos. I said, look at what's happening with on-demand liquidity. A 9-fold increase year over year from Q2 this year compared to Q2 last year. 9-fold increase in the usage of XRP. How do you think speculators, as markets mature, will continue to behave? Do you think they put money in stuff that's only speculative, or maybe it's speculative because you don't technically know anything for sure, but also it is actually needed for business models to work and for the Colombian government to do what they want to do? Where do you feel more confident putting your money? In something that's actually required in order for this to work? Or something where, I don't know, maybe it'll magically work. Because look at the dot-com boom and bust. Most of those companies, those ideas, bad, or they were too early, poor management, whatever, wild speculation, messy process. But there were some, like Amazon, that had real problems to solve and did them well, and they're still here and they're worth a fortune. That's where we're at right now. That's how early you are. It's just astonishing. I'm so thankful that I've come across this stuff. It's just astonishing. So let me go through this article just a little bit more here. Yeah, here we go. Notably, the development is a result of a year's work conducted by Persist in collaboration with Colombia's National Land Agency and Ripple. The solution is built on the XRP ledger. Through the solution, the Colombian government plans to register 100,000 adjudications in the short term to build citizens' confidence in the program. So there you go, federal government utilizing XRP, which requires the usage of XRP itself. So even if you're talking about a reserve account just for, 100,000 accounts to start because you're tokenizing 100,000 pieces of land, well, presumably that's just to start, right? But even if not, again, in a more mature world, if you're like, well, why would I think that XRP would go to zero if I know it's required for them to do this? And the Colombian government doesn't look like they're going to stop doing it. Say it continues mature and it really does look like that. And it is too soon to say that, I admit that. But if that's the case, where do you think money flows in? And you got this, you got on-demand liquidity, hopefully more adoption with NFTs, probably other stuff that we don't even know about, because the great thing is the XRP ledger does just work. And while we have this and we've had it for about a decade at this point, most platforms don't work and they're terrible specifically for payments and settlement. Most are really, really bad. We don't need upgrades. XRP ledger scales. It's perfectly fine. Good stuff here. Let me know what you think about it. But when I see this stuff, I just see dollar signs, big picture. As long as, that's why you can keep monitoring it though, because things could change. But I am super optimistic for the future of XRP and the XRP ledger. There's a reason that XRP is my favorite cryptocurrency on the entire damn planet, son. And there's even more adoption stuff that I'm not even going to try and cram into this video, but there's additional stories. I actually had some tabs open, but I'm going to have to save it. Otherwise, this is just going to go way, way, way too long. This would accidentally turn into like a 30 or 40 minute video. So I'll just wrap up here. Let me know what you think below, though. Cool stuff, though, right? Actually functionally being used. The XRP and the XRP ledger, both, by the Colombian government. And I'll share with you one last idea. When I jumped into crypto in 2017, I was like, why do we need a new form of money for all of these ideas? And one thing that wasn't ever sufficiently articulated, but after some amount of time, it did just kind of click with me, and I never had anyone articulate this to me, so hopefully this helps somebody. But if you're wondering, like, okay, why does XRP have to be used for this? Like, why not just use dollars or, whatever? I mean, maybe they wouldn't use dollars there. I don't know. I don't know if they have a national currency. I'm sorry, I'm just ignorant on the topic, but it doesn't matter. It's like, why do you need to have some sort of new coin invented to fulfill whatever the alleged use case is for a particular blockchain? Well, the answer is to remove counterparty risk. Because if you have a blockchain and there is no coin attached to it, and sometimes just distributed ledger technology is fine, okay, and you don't need a coin. But for ideas like this, not so sure, especially smart contracts, because there's counterparty risk associated with that. So that's the actual answer. So think about this. What if you had this platform? So you had something that was kind of like the XRP ledger, but there was no native token. There is no XRP. Well, even if you can tokenize whatever on there, like, how do you know it's not being manipulated if it's not on the immutable blockchain? Because there's money flowing into what and who and how. Is it paid? So is there payment off the blockchain? So like you're tracking it on the blockchain, which is immutable, but the payments are then not sufficiently being tracked? Well, that doesn't work as well, because that introduces a whole bunch of question marks. But if you're just talking about XRP being used for this particular case, I mean, fine. When you talk about the actual registry payments, maybe that is separate and there's some sort of additional risk. But what I'm saying is, in terms of not spamming the XRP ledger specifically, and then being able to participate as a result, like there's purpose for all of this. XRP is absolutely necessary to make this happen. And in terms of what the reserve is, that can change over time. It has changed over time. Validators get to vote on that stuff. So as XRP becomes worth more and more money over time, that probably reserve amount gets lowered. But it still gets used. But if you didn't have that, you'd have all sorts of problems. So it actually is functionally useful. So same with Ethereum. So say what you will about Ethereum. Like, what's the purpose of ETH? To pay for smart contracts, right? You could say that. Okay. But that's why in the earliest days, when you're brand new to crypto, you're like, okay, but why couldn't you just use money to do that? Well, again, whose money? How do you trust it? It adds the counterparty risk again. How do you even implement that into the system? So there can be instances, there are instances, where it actually makes sense to have a new token for a particular platform, even if it's just intended to be solved for one particular idea. Like, that actually is true. But that being said, there are all sorts of platforms out there where it doesn't actually make sense. Like sometimes I'm just sitting here like, with that idea, even if it's a good idea, why don't you just use a database? You know, you run into that type of stuff all the time. So I don't think you need 20,000 cryptocurrencies, but I do think that there are instances, and it became more clear to me as I learned more in the crypto space. It just became, even though I wish somebody would have articulated it to me like this, but eventually it did sort of click with me. And I don't think I've ever described it on the channel quite like this, but that's why. If you're wondering, like, why do we need all these new coins? Well, not that you literally need them all necessarily for every blockchain, but for some, yeah, you actually do, because otherwise it's like, who's the central authority in charge of making sure that something is paid for? But if you have an asset like XRP that has an open market price, bam, you've eliminated that counterparty risk. It's gone. And so there are situations where that, if you don't have to have that trust concern, it makes adoption of a platform that much more likely, which I think is what you're seeing here, right? You know, the thing about this, the Colombian government, I mean, they're not required to trust a central authority. If they were, do you think they'd be doing this? I don't. I sure as hell don't. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.